Hello everyone, Sergio Tiffer here, and welcome back to Cracking the Code, the podcast where we dive into real estate strategies that move the needle in your business. Today, I'm thrilled to be joined by a truly exceptional guest in the real estate coaching world, Janet Miller. Janet Miller is a coach, trainer, and a speaker with Tom Ferry International, known for helping real estate agents and teams scale with system, structure, and strategy. With years of hands-off coaching experience across North America, Janet is an expert at turning chaos into clarity for high-performing professionals. Janet, it's a pleasure to have you with us today. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Long time no see you. Hope to see you soon in August in Dallas.
You will. Last time we were there was 115, so hopefully it won't be as hot this summer.
Oh, yeah. 115. Jesus Christ. Anyways, well, again, welcome to episode of Cracking the Code for VOOV Virtual Assistants. I'm very pleased that you're here. You're a longtime client of VOOV as well, so double pleasure in that. Why don't you start by telling us a bit more about your story? I know that you've coached countless agents and team leaders through Tom Ferry International. What is your background and how do you first get into real estate coaching?
So I've had my license since 2010. I was on the front line for 5 or 6 years. Then I moved into a position as director of sales at a brokerage. We had 125 agents. And that's how I got introduced to Tom, because I was responsible for developing the trainings, the mentoring programs, the business planning workshops, sales contests, all those types of things. So I did what we always do, is you research online. And the resource that kept coming up over and over again as my go-to spot was Tom's content, especially his YouTube channel. So I went down to an event in California, 2017. He was speaking at the first break. I walked up to him and I said, "What would it take to become one of your coaches?" And that's how the journey started. And once I became a coach, I loved it so much, I transitioned and became a coach full time. So fast forward to today, I'm in my 8th year as a coach with Tom, and I have 14,700 coaching sessions under my belt, and I'm still learning every day.
Right. And I know you moved to Canada. Do you only coach Canadian real estate team leaders and agents, or do you also coach people in the US?
No, not at all. Probably close to 70% of my client base is in the US and the remaining 30% in Canada. And I have probably 4 different time zones.
Yeah.
I have people who sell $200,000 homes, and I have people who sell $20 million homes. So all markets, all time zones.
Yeah. And how is coaching? Is that very different when you are coaching, high performers that do sell properties in the 10 million, 20 million, 5 million versus someone that is probably selling 100 houses, $350,000 a piece? Does it vary a lot?
Yes and no. So there's no one size fits all in a coaching plan. Everything is very individual. But at the end of the day, it's a lot of the same problems. There's always chaos, right? There's always a problem. It's usually I don't have enough revenue, or I'm not profitable enough, or I have an abundance of business, but I have no balance in my life.
Right.
And so that could happen whether you're selling 10 homes, 100 homes. So it's like there's common problems, there's common obstacles.
Yeah. And I know you specialize a lot in structure, systems, and time management. What are some of the blind spots that you often see with your clients? What are some of the commonalities that you see there?
Yeah, I always say I'm here to help you create clarity from the chaos, right? Create certainty from the chaos. That's what I really focus on. And the blind spots come in a couple of forms. Number one of the obstacles or blind spots is people. Agents try to do it all, or team leaders try to do it all. Like they hold on to it too tight. They may think that no one can do it better than I can, or I'd love to hand it off to somebody else, but I'm just concerned that my buyers and sellers won't want that. They are hiring me. So there's a people problem. One of the other blind spots could be a processes problem. Too many times the this is how we do it manual exists in their head, right? It's not documented anywhere. And as a result, they can't delegate the tasks to other people. And then probably the third obstacle is, or the blind spot is time. They get to the end of the day and they say, oh my gosh, I didn't do that again. And usually the reason why is because there wasn't a time in the calendar to get the work done that needed to get done. So those are usually the three main problems that we're solving: people, processes, and time.
Right. And so what does it take for them to have this mindset shifts, or perhaps systems, to become from being overworked to an empowered leader, so to speak?
Yeah, they have to believe that clients, meaning buyers and sellers, are not going to leave them if they start to build up their infrastructure and start to build up their team. If you think, I always use the example of, let's say you needed to go to a doctor to have surgery on your knee. You would not expect that the doctor would be the one greeting you at the front, taking your medical record information, doing the x-ray, doing the blood tests. There would be a team of people supporting that doctor. So the doctor would talk to you, the patient, and do the consultation to find out what's the problem, what results do you want, this is how I can solve the problem. And you're just so impressed that you're not only dealing with the doctor, but this whole infrastructure, this whole support system. So if agents and team leaders start to think of their business that way and approach it that way with their clients, that will help them shift their mindset.
Good. And so delegation, and you're very heavy on delegation, and I love that. A big part of delegation is people, right? Personnel, which can be a daunting task if you're in the US or Canada. What is your take on virtual assistants, for example? I know this is still a hot topic. It's been a hot topic since probably 2015. What is your take on that? And how do how your clients, or anyone for that matter, can find the right VA partner, so to speak? And I know you have a VA, so maybe you can also give us some of the tips that you use with your current VA as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So this is a really common question that I get by coaching clients is they know they need an assistant. They know they need an assistant, but they don't know where to begin. I don't even know what I would get them to do. And so whether you hire an in-person assistant or a virtual assistant, you have to think about the following. What would I get my assistant to do? Like when you get to the end of every day, simply reflect and ask yourself, if I had had an assistant today, what would they have done for me? Oh my gosh, they could have ordered the for sale sign. They could have coordinated the photography. They could have emailed those documents to the client, right? And you start to list out what all those tasks are. Then you have to think about, does that person need to be next to me, in front of me, in person with me? Or could this be delegated to someone virtually? Often there's resistance. I had this happen to me on a coaching call yesterday. I had a new coaching client say to me, yeah, but I want to just walk up to my assistant and say, hey, got a minute? I need that done. Yes, but that's not the most efficient way to run a business. So it takes a mindset shift to document the processes, what you need done, and then delegate it. So if you need an assistant to pick up checks, lock boxes, all those things, maybe a virtual assistant isn't for you. But the majority of tasks you need done, a virtual assistant is very, very effective. So I'm here in Toronto. My assistant is in Nicaragua. We have a very productive workflow. And it's because we have our whole systems and processes mapped out in Asana, right? It doesn't have to be Asana. It could be Monday.com or any project management tool. But my assistant knows what needs to be done every day, week, and month. And we have projects to work on. So I don't need to be walking up to him and telling him what to do. He knows what the game plan is. So step one is getting clarity on what do you need your assistant to do, and then where are you going to document it to get it done.
Right. And so do you think that's a personality thing that they maybe are not built for having someone virtually, or is there more of a style of managing, so to speak?
It's a little bit of that, and it's also a limiting belief, because think about if we've never done something before and it's foreign to
Right.
us. I don't know where to begin. I don't even know how I would manage a virtual assistant, right? I
Well,
can remember.
it's like managing anyone in the office, I guess.
Yeah.
For that, I mean, if you have the right systems in place, and you're in Asana all the time, and I know that for a fact, you're in Asana all the time. It's the same way of managing. I think there's this high wall of, oh, this person is in another part of the world. I don't know, what are they doing? Will
Mhm.
they do things as I want? Are they capable? Often I see that it's more of a personality and maybe preconjunctions about, they are in another part of the world and I'm here. Maybe they don't understand my market.
Sure.
And that could be applicable maybe for, let's say, an ISA, right? If you're an ISA and you're trying to, make appointments in a specific area of Virginia, then, you need to know the streets, you need to know what's going on in that market. But for ATZ, for probably a lead manager, for a general assistant, I mean, I don't really see it that way. I'm with you in that certain positions might need to be in person, but I would say often 80% shouldn't, or not shouldn't, but probably don't need to be, I guess.
So my assistant and I have a very, I believe, a very productive setup. So there's a couple of components to it. Number one is we have all the tasks mapped out in Asana. So every person, including myself, who works on my team with me, they have what we call a DWM board, which simply stands for daily, weekly, monthly. So in that board is, hey, here's what you need to do every Monday, or here's what you need to do on the 15th of every month. It's very obvious. Then there's a second set of tasks in Asana that are workflow tasks. And if you're a real estate agent or a team leader, that would be the process of launching a listing, right? Launching a buyer, a content planning. I call those when this, then that task boards. Then we have task boards for projects. Those are things that we start at the beginning of the quarter, and 90 days later, they're done, right? So we've got all those workflows and tasks mapped out in Asana. That's one component of it. The second component is the communication system. So yes, all the workflows are in Asana, but we use WhatsApp just to tap each other on the shoulder. Hey, just wanted to make sure you saw that task I put in Asana. Definitely need that done by the end of the day, right? It's just like how we would text each other to say, hey, I just sent you an email. But a lot of people use WhatsApp or Slack, but have some kind of communication detail or communication tool. Yes, Asana has a communication tool, but Slack and WhatsApp are better. So that's the second component. And then the third component, and this is the game changer, is doing a daily huddle. So we jump on Zoom together for 15 minutes a day. Once a week, it's usually 30 minutes a day. And all we're doing is troubleshooting. Hey, I couldn't move the needle on this project because I wanted to clarify this. And what I love about that is it avoids the messages going back and forth all day long. Because that's one thing that I hear from my coaching clients sometimes. Oh my gosh, it's exhausting working with my assistant, right? We're like, they're always messaging me. Like I'm in the car and I get messages and I can't get anything done. Do a daily huddle. It avoids the gotta minutes throughout the day. It's definitely helpful. So I can't commit to a set time every day because of my coaching schedule, but what we do every Friday is we look at what does my calendar look like for next week, and then we decide when we're going to have the 15-minute and then the 30-minute huddle.
I mean, that's very, very effective. So how much you say your productivity has decreased by having all the systems in place and having your virtual assistant fully locked in with your stuff?
I can't put a number on it, but I can put a
Right.
feeling, right? Like I know that things are done. I don't have that like pain in my stomach or
Right.
the or that overwhelm or the voices in my head going off. It's like, oh, I have to do this. Oh, I have to do that. Like, I just know they're done. And if I can't remember if I asked my assistant to do it or they got done, all I have to do is look in Asana and there's the
And it's
communication.
there.
And I'm
Right.
like, right, that's what's happening.
So you're a big believer in virtual assistants. Do you think you prefer virtual assistants over someone in person?
It depends on what the work is. So operations, administrative tasks, workflows, 110%.
Right.
But there's certain tasks, certain uh, jobs that need to be done that you may need someone in person,
Right.
right? A videographer, some of the more creative work that needs to be done. Like you said, maybe an ISA that needs to really know the geography.
Right. And when do you think, and this is often, I get this question a lot, because I do the discovery calls with the clients here at VOOV, and they're like, I don't know when I need to start using the virtual assistant. Like, all right, so, and I usually tell them, hey, if you're at 100%, you needed an assistant a year ago. If you are at 80%, you need an assistant, because how long is it going to take you to, if you don't have any assistants, how long is it going to take you to develop everything that you need to put in place to have an effective assistant? So what do you tell your clients? Okay, this is the red line. This is the line on the sand. This is when you need to start looking into getting help.
Right. So there's a couple of flags to notice. Once transaction wise, once you're at 24 transactions in a year, that's one thing. The other thing is the first time you hear yourself say, I think I need an assistant. You're 4 to 6 months away from a breaking point of, I can't flip and do this another day without help. I'm going to burn out. So listen to that voice in your head when you say, I think I need an assistant. Like I would immediately start to spend time every day and just write down, like, what would you have an assistant do if you had an assistant? And that way you'll be prepared. When I got to that point and I hired my first virtual assistant, did I feel 100% ready? Nope, I didn't. I had this great vision of having all my SOPs mapped out and I was going to have everything documented before they started. I did not. I had enough that I had a really clear vision on what they were going to do, but I also knew that one of the roles or one of the points of help from my assistant was to help me develop the SOPs. So when we would do our huddles, we always did our huddles on their Zoom account, because I said, hey, I want you to take this conversation and I want you to turn it into an SOP and document the process in Asana. And now with AI, we can do that
Right.
even
It's
faster.
a lot easier. Yeah, it's
So it's a
5
lot
minutes.
easier. But I didn't get caught up on all the details of the SOP. What I realized is one of the benefits of having the assistant was to develop the SOP.
Right. And now I'm seeing another trend among my clients, which is hiring high level virtual assistants. I'm going to give you an example. I have a few clients that their marketing directors are within VOOV that run the entire show for them. And these are not small teams. I'm talking about teams that are closing 300 or 400 transactions. In fact, I'm onboarding a marketing director for a huge mortgage company here in a couple of days that they have like 1,000 plus employee. So what is your take on that? Have you received questions from your clients or maybe colleagues say, hey, should I hire virtually for this position or should I hire someone in the US, knowing that is operational, high level, maybe marketing high level, marketing director or marketing coordinator level, or someone that is a very key player that if that doesn't go well, it can disrupt your company, so to speak, right?
So whoever you hire in more of a leadership role, you have to make sure that they're aligned with your vision, aligned with your core values, and they are doing a good job of managing your people. Because am I understanding you right? These
Yeah.
virtual positions that they're hiring, they have people underneath
Yeah,
them.
people underneath them, or they are running an entire department, running the show for a specific line of business they may have. So if that goes well, shit hits the fan, it's going to
Yeah.
become a problem that is huge for them, right? But it's going well for some people, but I could tell that these guys are very well organized. And instead of paying maybe $250,000 in the US, they're paying $40,000 virtually, right? So it's a
Right.
big difference.
So you definitely want to be looking for leadership qualities in that person. Like not only what is their ability to manage tasks, but more importantly, what is their ability to manage people and grow and develop people.
Right. Right. And to close this section of the conversation, what would you say to team leaders or agents that are thinking about not just virtually, but hiring an assistant overall? What are your recommendations to them?
Do it.
Do it.
Do it. One of my favorite books that I tell all my coaching clients to read is a book called Get Scalable by Ryan Dice. I think we've all read Traction, right?
Yeah.
Great book
In fact, I
on
run VOOV and Traction. Yes.
Okay. If you like Traction, you'll also like Get Scalable. I actually like Get Scalable even better because Traction is brilliant. I find it's very corporate. Get Scalable is even more applicable to the entrepreneur. And I
Right.
find that most real estate team leaders, I would categorize that as, as an entrepreneurial business. And what the opening line in the book says is the more value you are to the business, the more valuable you are to your business, the less value there is in your business. Meaning,
Right.
if you don't get out of your own way and you don't have the right people and processes to support you, you're going to be the bottleneck. So
Right. And if you go to vacation to Cancun, then your business stopped for 2 weeks, and that happens a lot.
Exactly. That's one of my questions I always ask coaching clients. I said, okay, let's imagine this. I send you and your family on an all expenses paid trip to Hawaii or Cancun or wherever you want to go. I'm going to run your business for you. I just need to know how you do it. So we have a couple of options. Give me the passwords to your portals where all your operations exist, or give me the links to your operations manual so I can do it exactly how you do it. Or let's take out our phones. I want to make sure I have your mobile number. Let's set up daily Zoom calls because you've got to be taking my phone calls whenever I have questions. What's it going to be? And most agents, when they're starting in coaching, will say, yeah, we're going to have to do daily Zoom calls.
We're going to have a problem, a big one. I'm not going to be able to sleep my margarita.
I'd rather you just be on vacation and just check out and you come back and I can say, hey, here's the deal. Here's what's happening.
Right. So, what you're saying is that, everything's very fast paced and sometimes very reactive within real estate. So what would you recommend to people or to agents and team leaders in general that don't want to get pulled into the daily chaos of their operations, right? Because I guess like you said, you effectively manage your business in a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, and long-term vision, right? But among that, you're going to have a lot of daily chaos that's happening, and you want to avoid, to be a good leader, you want to avoid to get pulled into that cesspool of, oh my God, let me extinguish this fire, this other fire. And at the end of the day, all you do, I call it, you're the fireman leader, because all you're doing is extinguishing fires all day long, and you're not really moving forward into anything.
Exactly. So get really clear on your vision, know where you need to be by the end of this year, and then write your 90-day plans. We're recording this in early June. My question to each of my coaching clients this week was, what day and time between June 23rd and June 30th are you sitting down to write your Q3 plan? Right? So you got to do your 90-day plans, and then you have to read that plan every single day of the quarter. So you've got blinders on and you're focused. And so when you get these gotta minutes or these fires, a couple of things. Does it align with what you're focused on in the next 90 days? And also be relentless with your schedule. You have to have a formula in your schedule where you're doing the tasks that need to be done. So if someone walks up to you and says, "Got a minute?" You don't have to say yes, but no doesn't necessarily mean I'm not going to help you go away. No could mean I could
Right.
definitely meet you at 2 o'clock. I could meet you on Friday, whatever it is.
So sometimes, or I've heard that productivity is not what you get done. It's often what you don't put your energies on, right? Like if you have 100 things in a day, like should I really try to do those 100 things in a day, or should I kick the can
Mhm.
down the road another 3 or 4 months? And that often comes with, I have a lot of friends and colleagues that say, hey, my business is doing well. Should I just grow my business or create an ancillary business? Like, should I create a property management business? Should I create a title company? Should I create another brokerage? I don't know. For lower price points, should I create a mortgage company? What do you have clients like that sometimes they feel they've reached a plateau and they're like, okay, now should I do something else, or should I just grow this thing that I have that has so much potential?
So, yes, diversify, but don't dabble. Get the current business to a state where it's in serious momentum, right? You've got the right people in place, you've got the right processes. It can roll and create momentum without you. That's when you can start the other.
With
Don't
value, I guess, is a keyword. With value, you can keep growing with value, or it can maintain that momentum with value, so to speak.
Mhm.
I guess that's a keyword right there.
The problem that too many of us create is that we create these open loops, whether it's starting a secondary business or it's starting another project. I see it all the time on
It's the
coaching
same,
calls.
right?
People come, yeah, it's just at a different scale, right? People who come into the coaching call and they're like, "Hey, I'm going to do this." And I said, "Well, what happened to that?" "Oh, yeah, forgot about that." We all do it. We all suffer from shiny object syndrome, especially as we have access to so much knowledge and learning right now, right? Whether we're going to events or going on webinars or listening to podcasts, we get all fired up about all these great ideas.
Right.
And you just have to remember, it goes back to that yes, no, not now. You don't say yes to everything. Decide if it's meant for you, or decide if it's meant for you, but at a later time.
Later time, yeah. And now that you mentioned webinars and summits and all that, and we're gonna see each other in August and in Dallas. One thing it's funny to me is, Tom goes out there, and Jimmy goes out there, and Jason Pantana goes out there, and they put out all these great ideas and these great processes, and you have thousands of agents and leaders there. But when they go back, gone. Like they do 10% of what they learn, or sometimes not even anything. All your clients are through Tom Ferry. How do you help them land those ideas when they're back from a mastermind, from a summit? What is the magic there? What do we do as leaders?
So, a couple of things, and this circles back to some of the things we said earlier. We take all these ideas and then we decide these are a yes, they make total sense for my business. These are great for someone else's business, but it doesn't make sense for my business. And then this is another group that, yes, they make sense for my business, but not today. Right? So that's the first part of it. Then the second part of it is, again, go back to your 1-year plan. What did you say you were going to do by December 31st of this year? What did you learn that aligns with that? Okay, let's go all in on that.
Right. And do you see that on a percentage, how much of your how many of your clients do they land this successfully, these ideas, you would say?
Well, you know what I do with my clients? This is my little hack. Before they go to an event, especially something like Summit, right? Where there's 3 days of massive learning and you're fire hosed and you're all fired up. Before they go to Summit, I say to them, based on what you said you wanted to accomplish this year and what the long-term vision is, what's the 1 or 2 most important answers you need to find at this event? Right? So if they go in focused on this is what I'm shopping for, then they're gonna hear that and they're gonna
Right.
act on it.
And they don't necessarily have to ignore the rest. They can just
No.
acknowledge it and say, okay, maybe write it down, future knowledge that I will use, and that's about it. I mean, it's been fantastic sharing all this knowledge about your coaching experience. How do people can get in touch with you through the Tom Ferry Network? How do they find you, your social media platforms?
So easiest and best way to get in touch with me is on Instagram, janetmiller.coach. And that's my username across all platforms, including my website. But janetmiller.coach on Instagram is where I'm most active.
Are you taking more clients right now, or you're full?
No, I have openings for clients. And honestly, it's all about the right fit. So if someone's thinking about coaching, absolutely reach out. Let's chat. And sometimes they might be a great fit for coaching, but not necessarily with me.
Right.
But it's always great to talk, or they might be, but I'm always open to talking to people because it is a really beneficial.
Fantastic. Janet, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
It's been fantastic. I'll see you soon, okay? Thank you.
See you soon.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of Cracking the Code. A huge thanks to Janet Miller for joining us today and talking about powerful strategies that real estate leaders can start applying right away. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to follow us, leave your comments, and share with someone in your network who can benefit from it. Thanks again for tuning in, and until the next episode.